Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to watch this orientation. This video introduces the Outdoor Environments Assessment for Quality Improvement, or the OEAQI. Whether you are an educator, supervisor, pedagogical leader, operator, or other early learning professional, this orientation is designed to help you understand the purpose of the OEAQI and how it can support meaningful outdoor experiences for children. As you move through this orientation, we invite you to think about your own outdoor environment. Some programs have large spaces with trees and gardens, others have shared spaces, concrete areas, rooftops, or very limited outdoor space. Some programs have access to many materials, while others are working with very little. The good news is that the OEAQI is not about creating a perfect outdoor environment. It's about recognizing the possibilities that already exist in a variety of outdoor spaces and thinking intentionally about how outdoor spaces, materials, routines, and interactions can support children's learning, well-being, confidence, and sense of belonging. Throughout this orientation, we will come back to one message again and again. Every outdoor space has potential. What matters most is how that space is used to support children.
Before we begin exploring the Outdoor Environments AQI, we would like to introduce the 3 resources that have been developed to support the sector. The first resource is the OEAQI guidelines. These include the indicators and expectations that make up the assessment tool itself. The guidelines outline what quality can look like across different aspects of outdoor environments and educator practice. The second resource is this orientation video. The purpose of this video is not to read the guidelines to you. Instead, it introduces the OEAQI, explores the thinking behind the tool, highlights key concepts, and supports programs as they begin understanding and using the OEAQI. Our hope is that by the end of this orientation, you'll have a strong foundation for using the OEAQI guidelines and be ready to continue your learning with the additional resources developed to support the sector. The third resource, coming soon, is the Practice Companion to the OEAQI. The Practice Companion is a professional learning resource that reviews the OEAQI guidelines and supports early learning professionals in moving from understanding to practice through reflection and examples. In response to the release of the OEAQI guidelines, educators told us they wanted more than a list of expectations. They wanted practical examples. They wanted to see examples of what quality might look like in real outdoor environments. They wanted reflective questions that could spark team discussions and support continuous improvement. And they wanted ideas that could be adapted to different types of outdoor spaces. The Practice Companion was created to meet that need. Throughout the Practice Companion, you'll find photographs, examples from practice, reflection questions, and opportunities to explore how the OEAQI can be applied in your own setting.
By the end of this orientation, we hope you have a deeper understanding of why outdoor environments matter, how quality can be viewed through a broader lens, and how the OEAQI can support ongoing reflection and quality improvement. Most importantly, we hope you feel inspired to look at outdoor environments with fresh eyes and confident in using the OEAQI to support quality practice. Knowing that quality can look different in different environments, recognizing that meaningful outdoor learning does not depend on having a large budget, and appreciating that many programs are already doing more than they may realize with their outdoor spaces to support children in meaningful ways. The OEAQI is not about perfection. It is about noticing strengths, identifying opportunities, and continuing to grow over time.
Outdoor time is sometimes treated as a break from programming, a time for children to run around, get fresh air, and release energy. Those things are important, but outdoor learning is so much more than that. Outdoors, children are learning all the time. They're using language to negotiate, explain, question, and imagine. They're exploring science when they notice insects, weather, shadows, water, soil, and plant growth. They're using math when they compare sizes, count materials, build structures, or measure distance. They're practicing self-regulation as they wait, take turns, manage excitement, or move between active and quiet play. Outdoor environments also support relationships. Children work together, cooperate to solve problems, and communicate their ideas in many different ways. Educators have opportunities to observe children's interests, extend their thinking, and support confidence and independence. So, when we talk about outdoor learning, we're not talking about something separate from indoor programming. We're talking about a rich part of the program that supports children's development, well-being, curiosity, and sense of belonging.
This is one of the biggest mindset shifts in the OEAQI, and it's an easy one to get wrong. When we picture a high-quality outdoor space, we tend to imagine something polished, new, beautiful, and well-resourced. But quality is not about having the most expensive equipment. It is not about a brand new playground, manicured landscaping, or a picture-perfect space. Those elements may be appealing, but they tell us nothing about what children are actually experiencing. Here is the shift. A space can look simple and still offer rich learning. It can have very few materials and still support creativity, problem solving, movement, language, and relationships. What matters is not the space itself. It is how educators think about it and use it with children. That is why quality is really about intention. It comes down to the questions we keep asking ourselves. Why is this here? How are children using it? Who is able to take part? What learning is happening? What are we noticing and how are we responding? That is what makes an outdoor environment meaningful, not perfection, but thoughtful, responsive practice built up over time.
When people hear outdoor environment, they often think about the physical things: climbers, slides, riding toys, bins of toys, sandboxes, or the size of the outdoor space. Those things are part of the outdoor environment, but they're not the whole picture. The OEAQI asks us to look beyond equipment and notice what is actually happening for children. Are children able to make choices? Are materials being used in open-ended ways? Are educators engaging with children, asking questions, listening, and extending ideas? Are children able to take manageable risks? Is there space for quiet play as well as active play? Are routines helping children participate, or are they creating barriers? This is why the OEAQI is not just an outdoor assessment. It's also about educator practice. It looks at how the space, materials, interactions, documentation, planning, autonomy, and supervision all shape the child's experience. This is also why programs with simple or limited spaces can still show strong quality.
The OEAQI is a reflective quality improvement tool. It is designed to support reflection, not simply measure whether expectations have been met. It is not meant to be approached only as a checklist where teams work through each expectation and simply ask yes or no. Of course, the individual expectations matter, but the deeper value of the tool comes from the reflection behind them. The OEAQI helps programs observe what is happening outdoors. It encourages teams to reflect on what those experiences mean for children, and it supports programs in choosing meaningful next steps. So instead of only asking, are we meeting this expectation? We also want to ask, how is this supporting children's learning and well-being? How are children participating? What are we noticing? What could we strengthen? That shift changes the tone of the work. It moves us from compliance towards reflection, discussion, and ongoing improvement.
A simple way to approach the OEAQI is to view quality through three interconnected pillars: the environment, the materials, and the interactions. Together, these pillars influence what children experience, how they engage, and how learning unfolds outdoors. These pillars are intended to help you get started. They do not replace the 9 domains of the OEAQI. Rather, they provide a practical lens for noticing, wondering, and beginning meaningful conversations about quality in outdoor environments. The environment pillar looks at space, access, flow, surfaces, shade, seating, quiet areas, pathways, and storage. Through this lens, we're considering whether the space gives children room to move, easy access between areas, a natural flow through them, shade for comfort, and varied surfaces to explore and rest on. The materials pillar looks at what children can use, whether materials are natural, repurposed, responsive to the children's developmental needs and interests, and safe to explore with. The interactions are just as important. The interactions pillar looks at how educators shape outdoor learning by listening, responding and asking questions, extending children's language, supporting autonomy, encouraging peer interactions, enabling risky play, and nurturing a sense of belonging. Outdoor quality is strongest when all three pillars work together. A space may have interesting materials, but children also need time, access, and supportive educators. A space may be safe, but it also needs to be engaging. A space may be beautiful, but we still need to ask what children are actually experiencing there.
The three pillars we just used point to these 9 domains included in the OE-AQI, including the 2 domains the pillars don't fully capture: documentation and program plan, and supervision of children. This is important because outdoor quality is not created by one thing alone. It is not only the climber, it's not only the materials, it's not only the program plan. It's how all these pieces come together to shape children's experiences. For example, physical and risky play connects to supervision, educator language, autonomy, and materials. Documentation connects to planning, family engagement, and children's interests. Natural materials connect to inquiry, creativity, safety, and relationships with the land. The domains are listed separately in the assessment, but in everyday practice they overlap. Children experience them together.
Now that we've seen all 9 domains, let's talk about how to approach each one. Every domain in the OE-AQI begins with an intent, and that intent is the best place to start. The intent explains why the domain and its expectations matter. If we skip over the intent and focus only on the expectations, we can miss the deeper purpose behind the work. For example, an expectation might refer to providing different surfaces. The goal is not simply to say we have 2 surfaces. The more meaningful question is, how do these surfaces support children's movement, exploration, comfort, and participation? A blanket, mat, turf square, wood chip area, or rubber tile can change how children move, play, rest, and engage with their environment. The intent shifts the focus from asking, do we have this, to asking, what experiences are we trying to create for children? That shift is what makes the work more meaningful and intentional.
With that foundation in mind, let's take a closer look at what quality can actually look like one domain at a time. Every program has a different starting point. Some of these practices may already be happening in your program. Others may need to be adapted, and some may become future goals. That's okay. These examples aren't a checklist to copy. They're here to show the thinking behind the OE-AQI so your team can make decisions that fit your own children, program, and outdoor space. Let's begin with the first domain, the physical environment. The physical environment is about much more than what an outdoor space contains. It is about how the environment supports children's access, movement, comfort, independence, and participation. The physical environment includes many parts of the outdoor space, such as surfaces, seating, shade, quiet areas, storage, pathways, covered structures, and the overall layout. Together, these features shape how children experience the environment. But the deeper question is not, what do we have? It is, how does this environment feel and function for children? Can children move in different ways? Can they find a quieter place when they need a break? Can they access materials independently without support from an adult? Is there shade when they need comfort and sunny areas when that supports play? Does the layout help children move safely and confidently from one area to another? A strong physical environment does not have to be elaborate, but it does have to be thoughtful. Even small changes to layout, access, storage, or comfort can have a big impact on how children explore, participate, and engage outdoors. This is where the idea of starting with what you have becomes very practical. If your space has only one surface, while you may not be able to renovate the outdoor space, you may be able to add portable surfaces. A mat, blanket, turf square, rubber tile, or wood chip area can create a different feeling under children's feet and invite different types of movement. If the outdoor space feels busy or overstimulating, you might create a quiet nook with a mat, a basket of books, fabric, cushions, or a small shaded area. That gives children another choice. It communicates that outdoor play is not only for running and active movement, it can also support rest, regulation, and calm engagement. If children are moving through the outdoor space without much flow, a simple pathway can help. Logs, pylons, stones, chalk, painted lines, or loose materials can guide movement and invite children to walk, hop, balance, tiptoe, or change speeds. These are not necessarily big, expensive changes. They are thoughtful adjustments that can shift how children experience the space.
Domain 2 focuses on physical and risky play, a concept that is often misunderstood. While the word risk can bring thoughts of danger, the AQI views risk as an important part of children's learning and growth. Rather than eliminating challenge, the goal is to create environments where children can test limits, make decisions, develop confidence, and take manageable risks with the support of responsive educators. Children learn a lot when they test what their bodies can do. They learn to judge distance, balance, strength, speed, and stability. They learn to make decisions and discover what feels manageable and what does not. They learn to try, adjust, and try again. Through these experiences, children build confidence and develop independence. This might look like climbing, balancing, carrying heavier objects, building with large materials, jumping, running, digging, rolling, or using real tools with appropriate supervision. Educators are not stepping away from safety. They're actively observing, staying close when needed, considering each child's abilities, and deciding when to support, when to guide, and when to step back. The goal is not to remove all challenges. It's to create opportunities that balance safety with meaningful challenge, so children can develop confidence, independence, decision-making, and resilience. One of the most important messages about risky play is that risk is more than height. Sometimes people think risky play means tall climbers or children climbing high into trees. Meaningful challenge can happen in many different ways. A flat space can still support meaningful risk and challenge. Children can balance on low logs, carry buckets of water, build with crates, jump over puddles, pull heavy materials, move through an obstacle course, or test whether something they built is stable. Risk comes from challenge, choice, uncertainty, and decision-making. A child deciding how to move across a low beam is taking a manageable risk. A child figuring out how to transport a heavy bucket without spilling it is problem solving. A child building a structure and testing whether it will stand is learning through trial and error. This is important because quality risky play is not defined by the equipment in the environment, but by the opportunities children have to challenge themselves, make choices, solve problems, and discover what they're capable of, with thoughtful educator support along the way.
The next domain of the OEAQI focuses on supporting natural environments and learning materials. At the heart of this domain is the idea that the materials accessible to children should invite exploration, creativity, and imagination. Natural and repurposed materials are valuable because they are open-ended. They do not tell children exactly what to do. A stick can become a bridge, a tool, a fishing rod, a line in the sand, part of a structure, or something used for measuring. A crate can become a seat, a tunnel, a stage, a bed for pretend play, or part of an obstacle course. These materials invite creativity because children decide what they can become. They also support problem solving, sorting, building, testing, and collaboration. This is also an important reminder that programs do not always need to buy new things. Many meaningful materials are already available in everyday environments, like boxes, containers, fabric, tubes, baskets, pots, pans, logs, stones, leaves, pine cones, shells, and other loose parts. What matters is that educators choose materials thoughtfully, consider safety, and observe how children use them. The learning comes from the way children explore, combine, transform, and return to those materials over time. Using natural and repurposed materials does not mean that anything goes. Professional judgment is essential. Educators need to consider the children in their group and the materials they are providing. Are there infants or toddlers who mouth materials? Are there allergies to consider? Could any materials become choking hazards? Are materials an appropriate size and in good condition? Are there sharp edges, splinters, loose pieces, mold, or materials that are wet or visibly soiled? We also need to think about how materials are introduced and supervised. A material that works well with one group of children may not be appropriate for another. A material that is safe in a small group may need closer supervision in a larger group. The goal is not to avoid interesting materials. It is to make safe choices, establish clear routines, and provide ongoing observation so materials remain both meaningful and appropriate for the children using them. The natural environment is not just decoration. It is part of children's learning and their relationship with the world around them. Children build meaningful relationships with the natural world when they have opportunities to notice, care, observe, and return to experiences over time. This might include watering plants, checking soil, noticing leaves changing color, observing insects, talking about weather, collecting natural materials, or revisiting photos of something that grew or changed. Not every program has a large garden, and that's okay. Connections to nature can also happen using small planters, potted herbs, container gardens, seasonal collections, stones, leaves, community garden visits, photographs, or documentation. What matters is that children are not only looking at nature from a distance. They are developing a sense of care, gratitude, responsibility, curiosity, and connection. When educators slow down and notice with children, what changed? What do you see? What does this plant need? They help children build a deeper relationship with the land and living things.
This domain of the OE-AQI explores how thoughtful health and safety practices create the conditions for children to participate fully in outdoor experiences. Health and safety can sometimes feel separate from learning, but in outdoor environments, safety routines are part of what makes participation possible. If sanitation materials are ready, children can wash or clean their hands when needed without the whole experience being disrupted. If a first aid kit is available, educators can respond quickly while maintaining supervision. If sandbox routines are consistent, sand play can remain safe and inviting. If seasonal clothing and equipment are available, more children can participate comfortably throughout the year. The deeper question is not just, do we have the health and safety items? The deeper question is this routine helping children participate fully? Health and safety should not make outdoor play smaller. It should make outdoor play possible. It should support access, comfort, dignity, and inclusion. When health and safety practices are planned well, educators can respond confidently and children can stay engaged in meaningful outdoor experiences. Seasonal clothing is not just a practical issue. It's an access and equity issue. In our climate, outdoor learning happens across different seasons and weather conditions. Children may need boots, mittens, hats, rain gear, extra socks, splash pants, or other items to participate comfortably and safely. When a child is missing something, the response should not be that the child automatically misses out. Programs can think ahead by keeping extra items in different sizes, creating gently used donation bins, inviting families to contribute when they can, and building shared collections over time. This is not about expecting families to provide everything. It's about creating supportive systems so children can participate fully, even when something is missing. The message is simple. Every child should have the opportunity to participate in outdoor learning with comfort, belonging, and dignity, regardless of the season or weather. Winter can change how we use an outdoor environment, but it does not change the value of outdoor learning. As the seasons change, outdoor experiences naturally change too. Children may begin noticing snow, ice, wind, animal tracks, puddles, melting, freezing, and other changes happening around them. These experiences create new opportunities for exploration, investigation, and discovery. This may mean adapting materials, routines, and expectations. Children may need more opportunities for movement to stay comfortable. Pathways may need to be cleared. Materials may look different than they do in warmer months. The goal is not to use the outdoor environment in the same way all year long. The goal is to continue making meaningful use of the space and responding to what each season offers. Rather than asking how we can bring summer outdoors into winter, the question becomes, what opportunities does winter offer that no other season can? When we begin to look at winter through that lens, snow, ice, wind, and seasonal changes become more than weather conditions. They become invitations for learning, play, curiosity, and connection with the outdoor environment.
This domain of the OE-AQI explores how documentation and program planning can support learning across indoor and outdoor environments. Some teams may wonder whether the OE-AQI means more paperwork. Outdoor learning does not require a completely separate program plan. It does not mean educators need to create a second planning system just for outdoors, complete additional observations, or document extra experiences. Outdoor learning is part of the program. If educators are already observing children, documenting learning, planning experiences, and reflecting on children's interests, those practices can include both indoor and outdoor experiences. Learning experiences do not belong to one environment. A planned experience may take place indoors, outdoors, or move between both throughout the day. The focus is on the learning itself, not where that learning occurs. A child's interest in building may begin indoors and continue outside with larger materials. A conversation about weather may happen during outdoor play and then be revisited indoors through books, drawings, or photos. A gross motor experience may be documented as part of the indoor program. For example, if physical play or gross motor experiences are already included in the program plan, there is no expectation to add more simply because they occur outdoors. The goal is not to add unnecessary work. It's to make outdoor learning visible within the planning and documentation that already exists. Evidence is another area where teams may have questions. Different OE-AQI expectations may be supported by different types of evidence. Depending on the expectation, evidence might include a photo of the environment, a program plan, an observation, a learning story, a documentation panel, communication with families, a training certificate, meeting notes, or a record of team reflection. The important thing is that evidence helps tell the story of practice. It makes visible what children are experiencing, what educators are noticing, and how the program is responding. Evidence should not be collected just to fill a folder. Instead, it should help make quality visible and support practice. It should help teams say, this is what we are doing, this is why it matters, and this is how we are continuing to strengthen it. When evidence is connected to reflection, it becomes much more meaningful.
This domain of the OE-AQI focuses on the important role educators play in promoting positive interactions outdoors. Positive interactions are at the heart of quality. and outdoor environments provide unique opportunities to strengthen relationships. Outdoor time offers so many natural opportunities for connection. Educators can greet children warmly, notice what they're interested in, join and follow children's lead in play, ask questions, support problem solving, and help children communicate with one another. Sometimes positive interaction means stepping into play. Sometimes it means sitting nearby and listening. Sometimes it means helping children find the words to solve a conflict. Sometimes it means noticing the child who is quieter, watching from the sidelines, or unsure how to join the play. The goal is not to direct every moment, it's to be present, responsive, and intentional so children feel supported while leading their own learning. When children feel seen, heard, and supported outdoors, they're more likely to explore, take healthy risks, communicate, and feel that they belong.
This domain of the OEAQI explores how educators can foster children's autonomy through thoughtful outdoor environments and experiences. Autonomy is about giving children real opportunities to make choices, try things for themselves, and take ownership of their learning. Outdoors, autonomy can happen in many small ways. Children can choose where to play, what materials to use, how to carry something, how to build, how to enter a group experience, or how to solve a problem. They can help set up, tidy up, water plants, collect materials, put on outdoor clothing, or decide how to adapt an idea. Supporting autonomy often means slowing down. It means giving children enough time to try before stepping in. It means trusting children to do things they are capable of, even when it takes a little longer. When educators trust children with meaningful responsibility, children build confidence. They begin to see themselves as capable contributors to their outdoor environment, not just participants in it.
This domain of the OEAQI highlights the important role educators play in listening, extending children's thinking, and revisiting learning over time. Outdoor environments create real reasons for children to communicate. Children talk about what they see, what they're building, where they're going, what they need, what they remember, and what they want to try next. Children also communicate through gestures, movement, facial expressions, eye gaze, visuals, and actions. Educators nurture language and learning by listening carefully, responding to what children are already showing interest in, and building on their ideas. This might mean repeating a child's words, adding new vocabulary, asking an open-ended question, or connecting the experience to something children have seen before, or revisiting shared experiences through photos or documentation. For example, if a child says, "It's stuck," an educator might say, "You're noticing the wheel is stuck in the mud. What could we try to move it?" That small response adds language, supports problem solving, and keeps the child's thinking moving. Outdoor language does not need to be forced. It grows naturally from meaningful experiences. The words educators use outdoors can either stop children's thinking or support it. Of course, there are times when we must stop a child immediately to keep them safe. But there are also many moments when challenge is manageable, and instead of shutting it down, we can help children think through what they're doing. When we only say, "Be careful," children may not know what to be careful about. Are their feet slipping? Is this object unstable? Is someone behind them? Are they moving too quickly? More specific language helps children notice and assess. We might say, "What's your plan? What do you think will happen? Where will your feet go next? How can you make that more stable? What do you notice about that surface?" Or, "Do you need more space around you?" This kind of language builds risk assessment. It helps children slow down, observe, problem solve, and make decisions. So the goal is not to stop using safety language. The goal is to make our language more intentional and supportive of children's thinking.
This domain of the OE-AQI focuses on how educators work together to provide effective supervision outdoors. Outdoor supervision is active, responsive, and connected to children's engagement in play and learning. Outdoor supervision is more than keeping children in sight. Rather than remaining in one place, educators move throughout the environment, position themselves for clear sight lines, continuously scan the space, and stay connected to children's play. This requires ongoing communication and teamwork. Educators move throughout the environment, share responsibility for supervising different areas, confirm children's locations with one another, and use verbal check-ins to maintain awareness of where children are and what they are doing. When needed, communication tools are readily available to help educators stay connected and coordinate supervision. Effective supervision also changes depending on what children are doing. A quiet reading area, a climbing space, a water area, and a busy pathway may all require different educator positioning and levels of support. The goal is to support both safety and engagement. Children should be able to explore with confidence because educators are aware, responsive, and working together as a team.
We've now walked through all 9 domains of the OE-AQI one at a time, but children don't experience them one at a time. This is where we can step back and see how the domains fit together. At the center of the OE-AQI is the child, and all 9 domains connect back to that child. None of the domains stand alone. Together, they shape a child's outdoor experience. Think about something as simple as a walking path. It's more than part of the physical environment. It can support movement and physical development, encourage autonomy as children choose where to go, create opportunities for meaningful interactions and communication, and influence how educators plan for supervision and engagement. The same is true across the outdoor environment. A garden, a loose parts area, or a gathering space can support multiple domains and expectations at the same time. This is one of the most important ideas in the OE-AQI. The domains are interconnected. What happens in one domain often influences and supports several others. As you explore the OE-AQI, try not to think about the domains in isolation. Instead, look for the connections between them and consider how they work together to support children's play, learning, development, and well-being outdoors. When teams begin to see those connections, the OE-AQI becomes less about individual expectations and more about understanding the whole child and the quality of their outdoor experience.
One of the most important messages in the OE-AQI is that quality can happen in different kinds of outdoor spaces. Programs may have shared yards, spaces with concrete surfaces, rooftops, small fenced areas, schoolyards, or more traditional playgrounds. These spaces are not the same, and they should not be compared as if they are. Rather than comparing your outdoor space to someone else's, ask the question, how can we use our space as meaningfully as possible? A shared space may need portable systems. A concrete space may need added surfaces or natural loose parts. A rooftop may need careful planning around storage, shade, and movement. A large yard may need more intentional areas or stronger supervision systems. Every space has strengths and limits. The OE-AQI helps teams reflect on both.
An outdoor space with hard surfaces like concrete can still provide meaningful opportunities for play and learning. It may not offer grass, hills, or natural uneven terrain, but educators can create variety in other ways. Portable mats, turf squares, wooden pieces, rubber tiles, chalk pathways, pylons, crates, water, shadows, wind, and loose parts can all change how children experience the space. Outdoor spaces with concrete surfaces can support movement, building, pretend play, science exploration, art, group games, quiet areas, and risky play when materials and experiences are planned intentionally. It's also helpful to think about the natural elements that already exist. Weather, sun, shade, puddles, leaves that blow into the space, shadows on the ground, and water moving across a surface can all become part of learning. While children benefit from experiencing a variety of surfaces and textures, those opportunities do not always require a naturally diverse landscape. Programs can introduce variety through portable materials, natural elements, and intentional design choices that expand how children move, explore, and engage with the environment. The goal is not to create the perfect outdoor space. The goal is to make the most of the space available and thoughtfully create opportunities that support children's play, learning, exploration, and well-being.
Shared outdoor spaces require thoughtful planning because programs may not be able to leave materials outside or permanently change the layout. Portable systems, flexible setups, clear routines, and teamwork can all help make shared spaces work well. Wagons, carts, rolling bins, and lightweight mats can make it easier to move materials in and out, while thoughtful planning helps protect children's time for play and exploration. Shared spaces also benefit from clear routines. Who brings materials out? Where do they go? How do children help? How are materials returned? How do educators communicate and work together? Children can be part of this process. When they help carry safe items, arrange materials, or care for the environment, they are developing responsibility, independence, and a sense of ownership. A shared outdoor space may require more planning, but with thoughtful systems and teamwork, it can still support rich, meaningful learning.
Small spaces require intentional choices. When space is limited, adding too many materials can make the environment feel crowded and harder to supervise. Instead, it helps to choose open-ended materials that can be used in many ways. A small space might include container gardens, loose parts, portable surfaces, baskets of natural materials, seating, a quiet corner, or small areas for movement and exploration. Vertical space may also be useful when appropriate and safe. Rooftop environments can present unique challenges, such as limited access to natural features or fixed surfaces. However, container planting, portable materials, varied textures, natural elements, and thoughtfully designed experiences can help create opportunities for exploration, discovery, and connection with nature. The goal is not to fill every corner. The goal is to create enough variety for children to make choices while still allowing movement, supervision, and comfort. A rooftop or small outdoor space may have limitations, but quality is not determined by size alone. What matters is how the space is used, the opportunities it offers, and the experiences children have within it. Even simple additions such as a planter children care for, a basket of loose parts, a shaded retreat area, or a rotating selection of materials can create rich opportunities for play, learning, and exploration.
Limited storage is a common reality for many programs. When materials cannot remain outdoors, simple systems can make them easier to access every day. Wagons, rolling bins, labeled baskets, outdoor backpacks, portable mats, and clipboards are just a few examples. The goal is not simply to move materials from one place to another. These systems help create consistent access to materials, predictable routines, and more time for play and exploration. They also create opportunities for children to participate. Children can help choose materials, transport safe items, set up experiences, and return materials when they are finished. In doing so, they build independence and responsibility. When storage is limited, quality is not about having less. It is about creating practical systems that make meaningful materials easy to access and use. These examples show that portable systems do not need to be expensive or complicated. A wagon might carry loose parts, clipboards, books, buckets, fabric, or natural materials. A rolling bin might hold portable mats, seasonal items, or outdoor tools. Labeled baskets can help educators and children find, set up, and return materials more efficiently. Outdoor backpacks can be helpful when a space is small or shared and only a few materials are needed. What matters is that the system works for the program and is simple enough to use every day. A good storage system protects time for play. If materials are easy to access and easy to put away, children have more time to explore, and educators spend less time managing logistics. This is another reminder that quality is not about having perfect storage. It is about creating systems that support children's play and learning.
Moving from meets expectations to exceeds expectations is not usually about adding more and more things. It is about depth, consistency, intentional practice, and meaning. For example, having natural materials accessible may meet an expectation. But when children use those materials across different experiences, return to them over time, represent their ideas, talk about what they're making, and educators document and extend that learning, the experience becomes more meaningful. When children help care for plants by watering them, noticing changes, checking the soil, talking about what the plants need, documenting growth, and revisiting their observations across seasons, their engagement and learning become richer over time. Exceeding expectations is not about perfection. It is about meaningful, intentional, and consistent practice that supports children's learning over time.
When teams begin using a new tool, it can be easy to focus on what is missing. The OEAQI encourages a different starting point. Begin by noticing what is already supporting children's outdoor experiences. You may already have shaded spaces, loose parts, opportunities for gross motor play, meaningful family communication, warm educator-child interactions, outdoor observations, or strong supervision routines. These are all examples of practices that contribute to quality. By recognizing existing strengths first, teams can build on what is already working rather than feeling they need to change everything at once. The OEAQI helps make those strengths visible and supports thoughtful next steps over time.
A helpful way to begin is to keep the process simple. Choose one focus area, for example, surfaces, shade, materials, risky play, documentation, autonomy, or supervision. Then observe what is happening outdoors. Watch how children use the space. Notice where they gather, what they avoid, what they return to, where they need support, and where they show curiosity. Next, discuss what educators noticed. What is already working? What feels challenging? What barriers are real? What is one small change that could be tried? After trying the change, revisit it. Did the children use the space differently? Did the change support participation, engagement, or independence? Did it make routines easier? Did it create new challenges? The simple cycle of observing, discussing, trying, revisiting, and adjusting helps teams make meaningful improvements over time without feeling overwhelmed.
Programs often have practical questions when they begin using the OEAQI. You might think, we don't have enough space, we can't buy new materials, we share our outdoor space, we don't have storage, or simply, where do we start? These are real challenges, and the OEAQI is designed to support problem solving rather than expecting every program to have the same space or resources. Instead of stopping at the barrier, the tool encourages teams to ask practical questions. What can we make portable? What do we already have? How can children help with setup? What is one small change we can begin with? One important thing to note is that the OEAQI assessment scores are not posted online or shared publicly. The sole purpose of the tool is to support reflection, meaningful conversations, and ongoing quality improvement in children's outdoor environments.
This orientation is only the beginning. Because the OEAQI is new, ongoing opportunities for reflection and discussion will be important. Early learning teams will need time to use the tool, ask questions, share examples, and reflect on what is working in different outdoor spaces. Community of practice opportunities will help programs learn from one another. A solution from one shared yard may help another program. A rooftop example may spark an idea for a small space. A simple storage system, documentation example, or risky play strategy may be useful to others across the sector. Quality improvement is stronger when it's shared. No one program has all the answers, and no one outdoor space is perfect. The goal is to keep learning together, building confidence, and continuously strengthening outdoor experiences for children over time.
Now that you have an overview of the OE-AQI, we'd like to introduce the Practice Companion, a resource designed to help teams move from understanding to practice. Throughout the development of the OE-AQI, educators consistently told us they wanted support in understanding what the expectations could look like in practice. The OE-AQI guidelines describe what quality can look like, but they do not always show how ideas can be adapted to different outdoor environments, age groups, or program contexts. The Practice Companion was developed to bridge that gap. It is not a checklist or assessment. It is a supportive resource designed to encourage reflection, discussion, and ongoing quality improvement. Each section of the Practice Companion follows the same three-part structure. The Reflect section includes questions that help teams notice strengths, think about current practice, and identify opportunities for growth. The In Practice section provides examples of how an expectation might look in different outdoor environments and program contexts. The Try This section offers practical ideas that teams can test, adapt, and revisit in their own program. You do not need to implement every suggestion or change everything at once. Instead, choose ideas that fit your program, the children and families you support, and your outdoor environment. The Practice Companion is designed to support professional conversations, strengthen reflective practice, and help teams identify meaningful next steps that make sense for their context.
As we close, we want to return to the central message of this orientation. Every outdoor space has possibilities. The OE-AQI invites us to look at outdoor environments through a lens of curiosity, reflection, and possibility. Rather than focusing on what a space lacks, it encourages us to notice what is already present and consider how it can support children's experiences. Every program starts from a different place. The goal is not perfection. The goal is continuous reflection, growth, and meaningful experiences for children. Start with what is already working. Notice the strengths. Choose one meaningful next step. Try it, reflect on it, and build from there. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the OE-AQI. We look forward to continuing this learning journey with you through Community of Practice sessions.